Before your first cry echoed into this world, before your heart knew rhythm and your lungs welcomed air, there was a moment of stillness. In that stillness, beyond time, beyond space, you made a decision so sacred, so deliberate, that it would echo through the entirety of your human experience. You chose your parents not by accident, not by fate in the random sense, but by the intricate intelligence of your soul, a consciousness more vast than memory, more ancient than your name. In that realm of pure awareness, where souls glide between incarnations, weaving the fabric of destiny, you saw the contours of a life not yet lived. You felt into the energy of two people, their patterns, their wounds, their light. And in a moment of undeniable clarity, you said, yes, them. To the conscious mind, this may seem inconceivable. How could anyone choose pain, abandonment, limitation? Why would a soul ever walk into suffering willingly? But you must remember, the soul does not fear pain the way the ego does. The soul seeks expansion, growth, and karmic resolution. What appears as hardship to the personality is often grace in disguise, a sacred contract unfolding. Weiss, in his work with thousands of past life regressions, discovered something extraordinary, that many people, under hypnosis, recalled the moments between lives, luminous realms of choice, learning, and alignment. In those spaces, they remembered selecting their bodies, their lessons, and yes, even their parents, not as punishment, not as coincidence, but as opportunities to evolve through love, forgiveness, resilience. You did not come here by mistake, and your parents, whether nurturing or absent, loving or wounded, were part of that soul arrangement. Perhaps you came to resolve old karmas with them. Perhaps you came to learn boundaries, compassion, or to transmute generational pain. Sometimes souls even choose difficult parental figures to awaken early, to turn inward faster, to seek the light when surrounded by darkness. The deeper the shadow, the brighter the calling to remember who you truly are. This isn't about blame or glorification, it's about responsibility, the highest kind. Spiritual responsibility. When you begin to see your parents not only as individuals, but as souls playing their part in a greater unfolding, something shifts, a softening, a remembering, an inner liberation. And this doesn't mean tolerating abuse or remaining in toxicity. Spiritual wisdom is never an excuse for passivity. But it does mean understanding that at some soul level, there is intelligence behind it all. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a co-creator of experience. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the space before birth, not a void, but a vast stillness shimmering with light. See yourself there, fully conscious, standing in presence. See two lights in the distance, the energies of your future parents. Perhaps flawed, perhaps luminous, perhaps both. You reach out, you feel their frequencies, you know what the journey with them will demand. And still, you say yes. You descend, not as punishment, but as choice. And with that choice, your soul's curriculum begins. To remember this truth is to reclaim your power. It is to stop asking, why did this happen to me? And begin asking, what is this here to teach me? That subtle shift cracks open the door to healing. And as you begin to walk that path of remembrance, know that you are never alone. Countless others are awakening too, remembering that the soul chooses not for comfort but for evolution. And the most profound growth often begins with the first relationship, the one you chose before your first breath. If this truth resonates, if it awakens something ancient within you, honor that. Let it guide you inward. And if you feel called to continue this journey with others who seek the same depth, I invite you, gently, with presence, to subscribe to the channel. There are moments in life that feel inexplicably familiar, as if echoes from another time brush gently against your awareness. You may have looked into your parents' eyes and sensed something deeper than biology, deeper than name, deeper than the roles you were assigned. That sensation, subtle but undeniable, is the memory of a soul contract, one not written in ink, but in light. Before incarnating, you met them in that in-between place, the space where souls gather, where love is not the opposite of fear, but the fabric of existence itself. And it was there, in luminous presence, that the contract was formed, not with force, not with obligation, but with reverence. You looked upon your future parents and said, "Through you I will remember." And they said, "Through you we will also grow." Sometimes these contracts are designed for love, nurturance, support. Other times they are forged through challenge, friction, or loss. Because the soul does not seek comfort, it seeks evolution, and evolution rarely happens in ease alone. Imagine two souls meeting in the quiet before life. One says, "In our next life I will be the one who leaves you. You will know abandonment, and through that, you will come home to yourself." And the other replies, "I will carry that pain, not as a burden, but as a path back to love." These are not casual agreements, they are sacred promises. And yet, when the veil of incarnation descends, we forget. We forget the love behind the pain. We forget the purpose beneath the confusion. We see only the surface of our parents, their mistakes, their wounds, their absence or presence. But beneath that is the soul's choreography, delicate and precise. Weiss often spoke of the intricate weaving of these connections. That we incarnate in soul groups, circles of consciousness traveling together across lifetimes, playing different roles in each life to serve each other's growth. Your mother may have once been your child. Your father may have been your sister or your enemy. The soul is fluid beyond gender, beyond role, and so your choice was not only personal, it was collective. A mutual agreement of participation in each other's healing. You may ask, but what if my parents hurt me? What if their love was absent or conditional? These are not questions with simple answers, but they are invitations to deeper inquiry, to healing that does not depend on their behavior but on your inner freedom. You see, awakening is not about pretending all is well. It is about seeing clearly, recognizing the pain, feeling it fully, and still choosing love, not for their sake but for yours. Because love is the only vibration that dissolves the illusion of separation. To understand your soul's contract with your parents is not to excuse what happened. It is to reclaim the narrative. It is to hold both the human experience and the soul agreement at once. This is maturity of spirit. Close your eyes again, not to escape but to see. Breathe into your chest. Ask yourself gently, what did my soul come here to learn through them? What qualities are being asked of me? Compassion, strength, forgiveness, truth. Let the answers rise like whispers. Don't rush them. The soul speaks in stillness. And remember this, if the contract has fulfilled its purpose, you are allowed to let go. Soul agreements are not life sentences. They are stepping stones on the path back to yourself. You are not bound to suffering. You are bound to your becoming. Each moment of remembrance peels back the veil. And slowly the story shifts from one of pain to one of purpose. Every relationship in your life is a mirror, but none reflects as deeply or as starkly as the one between you and your parents. From the moment of your first breath, their presence carved impressions into the canvas of your being. Even their absence painted strokes upon your soul. And through those impressions, the soul begins its sacred work, the alchemy of remembrance. What we often mistake for wounds are, in truth, openings, invitations, a kind of coded language the soul uses to communicate with the self that forgets. When a parent is critical, it awakens our longing to be seen. When one is distant, it brings forth the aching desire for connection. These emotional responses are not flaws, they are signals. They point to the places within that are asking to be reclaimed. Weiss spoke often of the recurring patterns that ripple through lifetimes. A client may relive scenes of abandonment across several incarnations, each time with a new face, a new form, until in one lifetime they finally see it. The pattern, the lesson, the invitation, and that recognition becomes liberation. Your parents are the first actors in this soul drama. They step onto the stage not randomly, but with profound timing. And what they bring, their light and shadow alike, serves as the first curriculum of your awakening. You are not meant to become your parents, nor are you meant to reject them completely. The journey is subtler, it is about integration. To see clearly what was theirs to carry and what you have unconsciously held as your own. To distinguish between inherited pain and your true essence. This is the work of spiritual healing, not in therapy rooms alone, but in moments of silence, breath, reflection, in choosing to pause when the old wound stirs, in asking with gentleness, whose voice is this? Is this mine or something I took on as truth? When you do this, something miraculous happens. The emotional charge begins to dissolve. What once triggered rage or sorrow begins to soften, and in its place, a spaciousness arises, a deeper self, one who can hold both the child who longed for love and the adult who chooses love now, freely and consciously. It is also important to say this: healing does not require reconciliation. You may never hear the apology you longed for. Your parents may still be living in their patterns, unable to meet you in the place you've reached. And that's okay. Forgiveness is not about erasing the past. It is about releasing your grip on it. You do not need their permission to heal. The soul does not wait for external validation. It moves when you are ready. Close your eyes now. Picture your parents, not as they are now, but as souls, luminous, eternal, shaped by their own wounds and lessons. See the child they once were. See the lineage behind them. Generations of unresolved pain passed like torches in the dark. And now, see yourself holding a different flame. One of awareness, one of presence. You are not here to carry their pain, you are here to transform it. Each act of compassion, each conscious breath, each decision to choose differently, it ripples across timelines. It liberates not only you, but those who came before and those who will come after. You are the turning point in your lineage, the first to see the contract for what it is. The first to hold it with love and choose finally to evolve. There is a truth few are ready to hear, that your life is not a random unfolding, but a carefully chosen curriculum of the soul. Before birth, you did not simply choose your parents. You chose the exact vibrational conditions required for your evolution. Every event, every emotion, every encounter, coded with precision aimed at your awakening. Your parents were the beginning of that curriculum. They were the first mirrors, the first lessons. Whether they held you in warmth or failed to understand your essence, whether they celebrated your being or diminished it, they served the unfolding of your soul's contract. This may feel confronting. How could trauma be part of a sacred plan? How could a soul willingly step into pain? The answer lies not in justification, but in depth. The soul sees far beyond the timeline of one life. It knows that through contrast, the seed of light is stirred, that through forgetting, the path of remembering is ignited. Pain is never the destination, but it is often the gate. Weiss observed that healing is not just about the present. It is about connecting the threads across lifetimes. In regression, people recall choosing difficult lifetimes as opportunities to balance karmic energy, to meet again those souls with whom contracts were left incomplete. And most often, the first soul to appear in these visions is a parent. Because the soul curriculum is deeply relational, you are not evolving in isolation. You are evolving in relationship, with others, with experience, with yourself. And your parents are the first initiators of that path. They awaken what must be seen. They activate what has been dormant. Even your triggers are sacred. They are not flaws to be fixed, but clues to be followed. When your father's silence causes your heart to constrict, when your mother's criticism echoes long after she leaves the room, those moments are not punishments. They are portals. They ask, what belief did I form about myself here? And is it still true? Because that is the real work. Not fixing the outer, but uncovering the inner distortions and returning to truth. The soul's curriculum is not linear. It spirals. It returns again and again to the same core themes: worth, love, belonging, power, truth. And each time it returns, it invites you to meet the lesson from a deeper place. Close your eyes now. Feel into your life like a tapestry. See the threads. Notice how certain experiences seem to rhyme. Different people, same emotion. These repetitions are not coincidences. They are the curriculum speaking. They are the soul's way of saying, you are ready for the next layer. You chose your parents because they hold the origin point of those threads. They mark the entry point of your human story. But they do not define the whole. You are the weaver now. You hold the needle. You can stitch new meaning into the old patterns. You can transmute what was passed down blindly into something conscious, luminous. It does not require perfection, only presence, only willingness. Brian Weiss taught that the soul always seeks healing, and that the moment you remember your role in the story, everything begins to shift. Victimhood dissolves, blame melts, and what remains is the raw, sacred power of responsibility. You are not here to repeat the past. You are here to complete it, to love what was unloved, to speak what was silenced, to break the trance of inheritance and awaken the truth buried beneath it. That is the soul's curriculum, and you are living it now. The journey back to yourself always begins with remembrance. Not of facts or timelines, but of essence, of why you came, who you are beneath the layers, and what sacred promise brought you here. When you remember that you chose your parents, you remember that your life is not an accident. It is a design, a luminous map drawn by the soul itself. This remembrance is not merely conceptual, it is vibrational. It awakens in the heart before the mind can understand it. You feel it like a whisper, the kind that rises when silence deepens, when the world slows, and the inner voice becomes louder than the noise. Your parents were not chosen because they were perfect. They were chosen because their frequency, their wounds, their strengths, their shadows, all aligned with the lessons you came to embody. In their presence or absence, you were shaped, and in that shaping, your soul was invited to rise. Brian Weiss often described this process as soul design, not rigid fate, but fluid alignment. You chose a framework, not a prison. Within that framework, you hold the power of choice, of creation, of conscious evolution. And that power only truly awakens when you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what now? You see, the soul is not concerned with blame, it is concerned with growth. Your parents' pain may have been passed to you, but you have the capacity to transmute it into something else, into wisdom, into compassion, into freedom. That is the alchemy of healing. Not erasing the past, but rewriting its meaning from the perspective of consciousness. Forgiveness then becomes not something you give to others, but something you offer yourself. It is the release of weight, the untying of karmic knots. And it doesn't always look like reconciliation. Sometimes forgiveness is silent. Sometimes it happens in solitude, far from the people who shaped you. But always it frees you. In remembering the sacred agreement you made, the choice of your parents, you step into a higher order of awareness. You no longer see your life through the lens of randomness or victimhood. You see it as a work of art, a creation still unfolding. Close your eyes now one last time, take a breath, slow and full. Feel your heartbeat, not just as a rhythm of biology, but as a drumbeat of memory. You are remembering now. The veil is thin, the voice within is clear. Say silently, I chose this life, I chose these lessons, I chose this path. And with that declaration, feel what arises. It may be peace, it may be grief, it may be awe. All are welcome, because now you are awake. You are no longer a character lost in the play. You are the writer of the next act. And from this awareness, you can begin to choose differently, with presence, with truth, with love. This is your soul's journey. And your parents were simply the doorway. You walked through, you said yes, and now you are ready to walk on. Not as who they told you to be, but as who you came here to become. You are the fulfillment of the contract. You are the healing the lineage longed for. You are the one who remembers. And if these words touched your soul, subscribe to the channel and click on the video that just appeared on your screen. It was chosen especially for you. I know you'll love it.